they're so excited and they love doing everything because everything is done with passion and it's fun and it's, they really see their teachers loving what they do, so they love what they do.
I'm Glenn Herbert, and I'm an editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private schools to gain insights into their programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administrators. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
I have three kids that have gone to Fern Hill now, and so my oldest has just graduated from grade 8, and so when he was going into SK, that's when we made the transition. We were at a Montessori school, and we were looking for a school that would still be small, but would give an opportunity to kind of grow and have a lot of opportunities as he grows and stay in a school till he was in grade 8. So we had heard a lot of great things about Fern Hill, especially the Oakville campus. And we had a friend who had a daughter there. And so that's how we kind of first started looking at it. The first thing we did was go to an open house. And so that gave me a chance and my husband a chance to meet some of the teachers. And it was wonderful because there were students that were touring us around the school, so we could ask them a lot of questions about, what was it like? They were older students, of course, but they were so wonderful. I was really impressed by the way they spoke to us, and they were so excited about school. And then we got to meet some of the teachers as well, and especially the teachers for the younger kids. They were equally excited. And then as I did a little bit more research about different opportunities that they would have, my kids would have as they were growing up, it just seemed like a really good fit. And we did go to another open house and kind of had the same experience again. So I really liked the feeling that I had when I first went to the campus, and that just kind of stayed with me the entire time. So I have three kids. They all started at Fern Hill. My oldest when he was in SK, my younger two when they were in JK. And yeah, they were all a little bit different. Some of them were a little bit more, like my oldest is definitely more social. So when he first started, he went from a really small Montessori school to going in. But the classes at Fern Hill are also very small, especially for the younger grades. So he was, of course, kind of a little intimidated, a little shy when he first started, but there's a tremendous amount of support there, and the teachers just really took their time and made him feel comfortable. And I remember actually with him the first day that he jumped in the car at the end of the day and he had a big smile on his face. I knew then that we had made such a great choice. And then I have a middle daughter and a younger son. They had a similar experience. Of course, it was a little different because they had seen their older brother go to the school and we dropped him off. And they also were, it was a big jump for them because they didn't go to preschool at Fern Hill, which many kids do. Mine came a little bit later, but they were just welcomed with open arms. The teachers really got to know them, and that was consistent from the time they started till even now. They really took the time to get to know them, what they liked, and so I think they used that to really make sure they're having a great time and feeling comfortable in class. Consistently, there is a very positive attitude. And now going through it, so like I said, my oldest son has just graduated from grade 8. I have my daughter's in grade 7, and then my youngest is now in grade 5. And consistently from the time they've started till now, there's been it's a very positive environment. So what I mean by that is that there was very high expectations at the school. There's a lot, but there's a lot of support to help meet those expectations, but it's done in a very, very positive way. So there's always, opportunities if the kids need to talk to the teachers, or if they have questions, or if I have questions as a parent. It's always in a positive way. I've always felt that I could approach the teachers and the principals at the school, and it's always with a smile and a listening ear, and things are always taken care of very quickly. And I really like that, and I can see it in my kids, because even though there is these high expectations, they're so excited and they love doing everything, because everything is done with passion, and it's fun, and it's, they really see their teachers loving what they do, so they love what they do. So that would be for sure my favorite thing, is just that consistency with being positive, and really caring for the kids and for parents. One of the things that there has been times that I've struggled a little bit with is, I've talked about high expectations, and that is wonderful. But it's interesting. Some of the things that I had to adjust to was, for example, in grade 5 at the school, students write exams, which is something that I, of course, wasn't familiar with coming from my background with school. And, and along with that, although it's done in a very, I mean, the whole purpose of it is for them to learn how to write exams. So by the time they go to high school, they're very confident, which I now see because my oldest is in high school. But I think along with having those high expectations and having those things like exams, there does come that kind of, not extra stress, but a little bit of that anxiety, because you're like, oh my gosh, he's, my youngest right now is 10. He's going to be writing exams in a couple months. But now I see the outcome of that. And now and it's wonderful, because by the time the kids go to grade 9, they've already written, over 20 exams, and it's a very positive thing. But it's a little intimidating, I think, for students and parents when they first go through the process. They're thinking, what is this? And the teachers do a tremendous job kind of talking about what the purpose is of it. And aside from that, it's just, there's homework, there's lots of work. And with 3 kids, that can be very busy sometimes. But again, they enjoy it. They always have lots of support. But I think going into a private school and going into a school that does have these kind of high expectations academically, there is a certain level of work that you have to get used to doing. Not really. I felt really comfortable when I went there, which is why I went back a second time, because I thought I'm going to go check and see this again. I didn't. I felt really comfortable right from the very beginning. I felt that I felt like they were really, and again, having students kind of help with the admission process too. I felt that I I was getting honest answers and honest feedback about things. And one thing that I really liked as well, too, when I first started at Fern Hill, they do match parents up with other parents right at the beginning. And I found that really helpful too. And since then, I've helped other parents that have come to the school. But I did find that really helpful too, because I get asked lots of questions about what's it like when you're picking up your kids? Yeah, parking is busy, and it's, that's been, a hard thing to adjust to. And because we are in an area where there is some busing, but most of the kids are picked up from school. So I could ask parents that have been there for a long time about, what is homework like? What's the situation like? So I never felt like I was surprised by anything, because I felt like people were really honest and forthcoming with their experience. And I've always and still do feel like if I'm ever feeling that there's an issue or something that uncomfortable, I can go and ask. The school itself, I think, embraces would be definitely respect. Um, as a parent, I've always felt that they've really respected the fact that I have chosen to bring our kids to that school. And again, very open, very helpful. There is an expectation that the kids are also very respectful. So you will see that when you go in the school. You will see that the teachers in the classroom speak respectfully to the kids, but the kids also are expected to act the same way. There's really very little tolerance for that not being the case, which as a parent I've loved and appreciated. The kids want to live up to the expectations. Um, another motto that the school would have is just for the kids to be well-rounded. And that's something as a parent I've appreciated as well. There is a real push for kids to get involved. But what I loved about that was that they can be involved in the math club, but then the same kid is also starring in the musical. And then they're also running a fundraiser, next week. And that is really encouraged and embraced. And it kind of creates a certain kind of kid at Fern Hill, which I've loved. I've seen it with my own kids. So just that push for being respectful, for being kind, for really getting involved in things outside of the classroom as well. So, and creating leaders. I mean, because of all those mottos, you really see by the time the kids are getting into, I would even say grade 4, grade 5 and upwards, you can see such a difference in their leadership skills and their ability to communicate. And I think it all comes down to those really important things being embraced at the school every day. No, I don't feel like there's a typical family. I really have enjoyed meeting a lot of the people. Some have come, some have gone. When we first started at Fern Hill, there were a lot of families that were there for 3 years, 2 years, international families that had come to live in Canada or work in Canada for a short time. And so my kids have contacts and friends in other places in the world, which has been really neat. But I wouldn't say there's a typical family. You see a wide range of families there. Some with only children, some that have multiple children in the school, from the general area, or even further away coming to the school. So no, it's everyone, and I think every year is a little different too. Now that with the kids, like every grade year, and there's always a few kids that come and go because of different situations, and so it kind of changes things up all the time. But one thing that does seem to be in common with the parents that do come to Fern Hill is they typically have done a lot of research into where they want their kids to go to school. Most have, in fact, all have come to campus to visit. And usually they've known somebody that has gone there. So there's like a personal connection, which has first drawn them to the school. And then it's wonderful because as a parent, there's lots of opportunities to get involved too. So you really do have a chance. I mean, again, this year's a little different, but you do really get a chance to get involved and get to know a lot of the parents, whether it's in the higher grades or the younger grades. And I think everyone is just feels like a positive environment. So the parents seem happy too because their kids are happy. So yeah, there's not really a typical family that you would find there. One that really stands, there has been many with the three of them at different times in their stages at Fern Hill, but one of the ones that definitely stands out for me was my oldest son had the opportunity to travel to on a Young Round Square trip to Costa Rica when he was in grade 7. And for most of these kids, it's the first time they've ever traveled away, by themselves, away from their families. And he was so nervous and so, worried about things. Like he was so excited, but it was such a wonderful experience because they really helped them kind of gear up and plan for this trip. And then we took him to the airport, and again, really nervous, like excited, but worried about, being away. And when we picked him up from the airport, when he returned, it was such an incredible experience for him. And, not a lot of kids get that chance to do that when they're so young. So in grade 7, they're still really young, but he came back and he not to say he was a different kid, because all those things I've always seen in him, but it was incredible. He was so proud of himself because he did it. And he had such a wonderful time. He could not wait for grade 8. Unfortunately, COVID hit, so he didn't get a chance to go away again. But it really changed him in that he was confident. He knew he could do these things. He also, as part of these trips, they do community service. So he was actually helping build a school when he was there. And the just being he was so proud of himself for all those things and doing things that he didn't think he would enjoy doing, that he actually really did, and learning a little bit about the world. It set something off in him that I know now, as a high school student, he will continue to do those kind of things. But as a parent, I think you just hope that they will, you kind of, that was our first time sending them off into the world. And although, there's teachers and classmates with them, you just hope that they use the skills that they've learned in a positive way. And he did. And he returned and really kind of put those skills to work in the school too. So it's there's many more, but that one stands out for sure because it was such a big moment for him. So one of the things like I loved when, and perhaps this was something that surprised me because I didn't have this experience when I was going to school, was because at Fern Hill, the teachers teach the subjects they're passionate about. So even when the kids are young, they're going to, so when they go into grade 1, for example, they will have a different teacher for art, a different teacher for math, a different teacher for geography, a different teacher for science. And so every teacher teaches a subject that they're passionate about. And what a difference that makes, because they're consistently walking into a classroom with a teacher who's so excited about the materials that they're teaching. And that was, and still is, such a great experience for my kids because it has really allowed them to learn, I think, so much more about these subjects from someone who just absolutely adores what they're teaching. And again, that positive attitude. So it's very positive. They're teaching the things that they love, and they're able to teach it at a very high level too. So within the classrooms, for example, with subjects like French and math, they can be teaching these subjects at different levels within the classroom. So something that I've really liked is if you have a student, a child that loves math and can kind of move ahead a little bit more quickly, they can do that when they're at Fern Hill. And if there's a student in French who may struggle a little bit, there's different levels within their French class. So it makes everyone feel really comfortable. They're all enjoying because they're being taught by someone that is, an expert in their subject. And again, it's high expectations, but the support is given for the students to meet those expectations, and they want to meet those expectations. Sure. Definitely the top 3 reasons for me to recommend Fern Hill would first be the environment, to that positive environment, really creating well-rounded students, leaders, giving them tons of opportunities to get involved in sports or musicals or anything that really interests them. There's that drive. So you see the kind of student you're going to develop over the years that they're there. The second reason for sure would be academics, really giving them the confidence to do well academically and meet those high expectations. They don't know any different that they're even meeting those expectations or being at that high level because they're enjoying it and having fun. But as a parent, I really see the strengths that my kids have because of the academics that are in the classroom. And third, I think having kids that can communicate and also have confidence. So, as an example, one of the things that I love about the school is, again, pre-COVID time, but they're doing this also still virtually in the classrooms, is they have assembly every single day at the school. So now it's done, within classrooms and then broadcasted to each classroom. Prior to that, it was done in the gym. So the kids every day are starting their day together, and they also, each class has a week where they're in charge of assembly. So it's from a very young age, really little kids will then be given the opportunity to help run assembly, and they're given tasks. So some are talking about the weather, some are talking about sports. So all of my kids have had that experience, which in turn has made them amazing public speakers. They don't even think twice because they've done it since they're really young. And so that has been, and that was perhaps a surprise because that's not something that I was looking for when I was looking for a school. But I see such an incredible gift to my kids in terms of being able to speak in front of people. And the school gives them so many of those opportunities. So by the time they get to grade 8, they truly feel comfortable getting up in front of their entire school and more than that, and feeling very confident. And that I see as one of the biggest gifts that the school has given them. I feel like that when I first started looking, I really, I was so focused at that time on, kindergarten and SK that I really didn't think so much about that whole package, that whole experience, getting right to grade 8. And I think the advice that I would give a family looking, especially if they're first looking at their son or daughter coming in, in preschool or the early years, is to really take the opportunity to try to talk to some of the older students, because the getting a sense of really what it's like beyond those early years, I think, is so important. And I wish I got those tour guides and I got a chance to talk, and that really helped me with my decision. And I think it's really important to talk to some of the students, because you're really not focused on that usually at that time, but to be able to talk to as many parents and current students, and the administration too. They're so, the doors open and so helpful, and I feel like asking so many questions and is a really wise thing to do before you're making these big decisions, because it is a big decision. Especially if you're planning on being there, for your student to get to grade 8. That's a big decision and a commitment for your family. So yeah, taking the time to really talk to some students, and maybe go in and see what a classroom's like, and talk to some of the teachers, maybe not beyond your, SK, some of the older teachers. And really, I think they'll see a consistency there from the beginning to the end in terms of how welcome everyone is and the support. And so maybe I wish that someone had just, said that. It ended up happening anyway, but I really was just so focused on him starting kindergarten that I didn't really think about, what kind of opportunities would he have as a grade 8 student going into high school. And it really helped make up my mind.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.